After covering the Android saga in the last part, we now go into the Buu saga, or at least the events leading up to it. With everything that's changed so far in the story, what's going to change going forward? We'll be seeing all that and more in this part 7 of What If Gohan Had a Twin. There's a 7-year passage of time as we go up to the Buu saga, although there's a lot that happens over this time skip. For one, Piccolo eventually does come back from Namek, much stronger and much smarter. Of course he originally went to find out a way to make the Dragon Balls for himself, but he learned a lot more while he was there. And of course he does make a new, stronger Shenron. Not only does he have 3 wishes, but he's linked to a more powerful Piccolo, so by default, the Shenron is better. But besides that, Piccolo got way more out of this. Besides all the knowledge he gained, not just about Namek, but the universe as a whole, he did grow a lot stronger too. Now, it's not like he memorized the entire Namekian Book of Legends, but he does know about it and knows that there's a lot of info in there. So if he ever did want to look up some specific info one day, he would know about it. He wasn't there permanently studying it. Because if so, he'd know about the Super Saiyan God by now, and we'd probably be able to create one right at the moment. But most of his time there was focused on trying to unlock his true potential. Mori did try to draw out more of his power again, but he could never draw out the full amount of power that Piccolo had. He knows that there's still some locked away in there. But with the amount that was taken out, plus all the training that he's gotten, Piccolo's definitely going to be keeping up with the Super Saiyans. And the Super Saiyan 2s for that matter. Since Gohan and Goten have recently discovered that. And speaking of hybrid Saiyans, Trunks is born in the present, a little bit later than normal. Although everyone finally realizes, this whole time, they didn't know who Trunks was. They thought he was just some random time traveler and that Bulma just named this kid Trunks, basically as a sign of respect for him. But when he is born, well, they can clearly see that this is a baby version of that time traveler. That whole time, they were around Vegeta and Bulma's son and they didn't even realize. Well, Raditz laughs. He realized, and Goku did. Also, I guess Piccolo did too because he was eavesdropping. Raditz wonders why they never caught on. And while Vegeta has a family now, that's not going to happen with Raditz. He never does settle down. He's a playboy, and pretty successful at that. He's a tall, muscular man with luscious hair and a cool scar. He kinda smells bad, but otherwise, people power through the stank and they love him. He lives the life of a bachelor, and he's a happy bachelor. But as for his warrior side and everyone else, they all master Super Saiyan at some point. The training Vegeta had with Raditz was actually pretty good. They were able to master it together, and thankfully it seems like they might have put aside the bad blood, although maybe some of it is still there. But over this time skip too, they go beyond Super Saiyan, eventually getting Super Saiyan 2. Goku's the next one to get it after Gohan and Goten do, then Raditz and Vegeta. Raditz and Vegeta are on equal footing, with Goku being stronger than both of them, and Gohan and Goten being at the top. Of course, with them growing stronger on their own too, because, like normal, they're still going to be training, especially because Goku and Raditz encourage it. They're able to find a nice balance between training and school, because by now they're going to be sent into a city for school. And finally, at some point they do hit growth spurts, but it doesn't mean they're done growing. Trunks is basically like a younger brother to the two of them, especially because now they know who Trunks was, but also because Vegeta lets Trunks hang around them to gauge their power, and hopefully he can grow stronger from it. And Trunks would probably still get Super Saiyan pretty early on, but he doesn't have the experience of everyone else here. And unlike Gohan and Goten, he doesn't have a tail. But how do they live their normal lives with tails though, because now they're going to school? Isn't that going to look weird? It probably won't actually look too weird. They live in a society with, well, furries. Like the purest form of it, there's actually animal people here. Now this might seem kind of weird because it might spark some rumors about them being half animal person, which has some weird implications about their parents, but no, they're just half alien, although they're not going to let anybody know. What about the nighttime? Does this mean they just can't go outside at night? Actually, they can. They've now worked with Great Ape so much that they could willingly transform. As long as they're focused and don't have some sort of weird rage boost or whatever, they can consciously avoid transforming into a Great Ape, even one under the moon. So this allows them to blend in with society and live basically normal lives. And another small thing to mention, just because I haven't done this a lot in my scenarios, we're going to give Krillin and 18 a better ending and say they do meet by chance and get married by the end of the time skip. I at least owe it to them to have that happen in a few what-ifs, since the circumstances of some scenarios mean that it's avoided. But here, it's chill. Another small side note here, they're in Satan City, but it's not going to be called Satan City. The Cell games never happened and Mr. Satan never became a hero like he once was, but he's still pretty well respected and a pretty famous guy. It's just that he's not going to be renowned as a world savior. But he's still pretty much the closest thing that someone can get to that. This also plays into some of the stuff that happens while Gohan and Goten are at high school. They attempt to do the Saiyan stuff at some point because they both think it's a cool idea. They notice that there's some crime in the city and they basically stop it by chance by transforming into Super Saiyan. Although hiding their identity is a bit hard, mainly because of their tails. They do have Saiyaman outfits at one point, and removing their tails isn't an option. They don't really have a need to just to hide their identity. Plus, their uncle is adamant against it. He says their tails represents their heritage and their pride as Saiyans, while Goku, he tells them it's cool because they have basically a fifth limb. So even if they wanted to remove their tails, Goku and Raditz would convince them not to. Goten bails on being the Saiyaman pretty quickly, especially because someone's trying to figure out who they are, and that's Fidel. The second she's on their trail, Goten stops it because he doesn't want to be found out. But Gohan continues, and he's found out pretty easily, especially with the whole tail thing. She is still a Vigilante here, because despite Mr. Satan never becoming a world hero, he's still widely loved and she's still going to be prominent. Gohan is a bit bummed out because this means he's probably going to be pretty obvious as Saiyaman unless he figures something else out. And also, his brother bailed on it. It was nice having a Saiyaman duo. This also leads to Gohan training Videl because she wants to learn how to fly. And Goten's not going to help it either because first of all, he still doesn't want to be found out as the Saiyaman. She'll probably put 2 and 2 together soon enough, but if he's seen near her, then she'll be able to quickly figure out who the second one was. Although she already suspects it's Goten, it was pretty obvious. Also, Goten thinks she's insane because she was stalking them basically. Gohan tells him she's not that bad, but Goten mentions the fact that she was chasing them down every day and basically attacked them to get their identity. She kinda scares him, so Goten isn't involved in their training at all and that gives them alone time. And as for Goten, since we did this in the original version of this story, we'll say maybe he has a thing for Erasa. In the actual main story too, she was probably even flirting with Gohan, so she probably would try the same with Goten. And unlike Gohan and Videl, the relationship starting between Goten and Erasa is a lot more normal, whereas Gohan and Videl are basically fighting each other and flying. Weird, but Gohan likes it. And that finally brings us to the end of the time skip. With the World Tournament coming up, of course Gohan and Goten are going to enter. Videl encourages Gohan to, and of course Goku's going to do the same. While Erasa says Goten should join to try to win the prize, but Goten never really needed convincing. He thinks it's a cool opportunity for him to show off. Imagine getting the glory of someone like Mr. Satan. That could be pretty cool. And also, the prize money. Gohan honestly doesn't care about either of those, although Chi-Chi makes him care about the prize money. He just thinks it'll be a fun opportunity. In preparation for the tournament, Vegeta does his own intense training because he's going to join too. He's not even training with Trunks because there's someone else at Capsule Corp that's going to do a good job at training him. That's Android 16, who's basically a guard at Capsule Corp at this point. Him working with Gohan and Goten went well, so he's going to be a nice way for Trunks to grow stronger too. Not like he really needs it though, because he's going to be in the junior division and obviously he's going to win with ease. And of course, Raditz is going to join the tournament too. It basically sounds like a fun party if anything. They're going to be cheering on people beating each other up. That's basically what he does at his bar crawls every night. But this time, it's socially acceptable to beat those people up. And of course there's the fact that him being a Saiyan means that he does want to fight in general. And it sounds like a perfect thing for him. He's also glad to see that his nephews have girlfriends too, and he says if one of the kids ends up fighting him, he'll throw the match so they can impress their girlfriends, even though they all know Raditz wouldn't have won anyways. But of course this isn't going to be a normal tournament. And the matchups are different too. The first one is actually Krillin versus Yamu. Now this isn't going to be a hard fight for Krillin at all, but he can easily see something strange about this guy. Yamu even also has Spopovich try to take his energy, but they don't do it. They're going to wait for a bigger prize. Yamu's a little angry that he's fighting this early on in the tournament, because it would be better if he was fighting someone that they could steal more energy from. Krillin could be a good target, but Spopovich tells him to wait. There's bigger ones coming up. But Krillin's immediately suspicious of these two, especially with those weird tattoos on their head. These two just seem kind of off. The next fight is Piccolo versus Shin, but it's kind of unfair to call that a fight, because that goes pretty much like normal where Piccolo just bails. And obviously with Piccolo merging with Kami and having a bunch of new knowledge from Namek, he's very easily able to tell who Shin and Kibito are. And he tells the others too. The third fight is equally strange. It's Spopovich versus Raditz, and Raditz is ready for a pretty easy fight. It's kind of a shame that he's up against a regular human in the first match, but that means he's gonna get an easy ticket to the next round too. And with the way the tournament's set up, Gohan's fighting Kibito next, so Raditz will probably fight Gohan soon enough. He's pretty hyped up and takes this pretty casually, even though he did promise Gohan he'd throw the match against him. Raditz tries to hold back his powers because he is fighting a regular person after all, but he comes to see that Spopovich is a lot faster and stronger than a normal person. Now, he's not as strong as any of the humans that they work alongside, not by a long shot, but then he could also see this guy could fly too, so this guy actually knows how to use Ki. That's pretty rare for a normal Earthling. But Spopovich tells Raditz to not hold back. He doesn't know what power he is holding back, but he wants Raditz to show off his full strength, basically taunting him and trying to make him angry. And you know, just for fun, Raditz should try to scare this guy. So for a brief moment, he transforms, just to make him quake in fear. And Spopovich didn't know what he was expecting. Raditz shows off his full power as a Super Saiyan 2. He says he could tell that this guy could probably sense Ki as well, so he should sense the great increase in power here. This should be enough for Spopovich to realize who he's dealing with and to stop being so cocky. Raditz lifts a single finger up, ready to knock Spopovich out just with that. But as he lifts up his hand, it's frozen, and the rest of him is frozen too. He's just stuck there midair. What is this? Is this some sort of ability that Spopovich is using? Shin and Kibito are using their powers to paralyze him. Both combined because it's kind of hard to hold him back. Spopovich yells out to Yamu, who jumps in and tries to steal energy from Raditz. Raditz powers up even more just to try and escape this, but nothing works. His energy's drained, and he falls to the ground with Spopovich and Yamu escaping. Goku immediately goes over to Raditz, telling him he'll get a Senzu. He just has to go to the lookout first, but tells Raditz to hang on. But Kibito actually steps up and heals him. And before the Kais can even say what they're up to, Raditz immediately launches up into the sky, powers up into Super Saiyan 2, and flies off to chase them. The Kais tell the others to follow. And they have to explain kinda quickly. And when they hear the Kais' plan, Goten turns over to Gohan and whispers. He thinks their plan's kinda stupid. And yeah, Gohan kind of agrees. Apparently Piccolo said these gods are so far above anything they can even comprehend. But that was their plan? And Gohan wonders how Raditz is gonna react to this. Won't he be pretty pissed when he finds out what happened? Goten says it's not their problem. But they're gonna probably have to stop Raditz from manhandling the Kais. Far away from the rest of the group, Raditz has already caught up to Spopovich and Yamu, and immediately when he's behind them, he grabs onto one of them with each hand, rocketing into the ground below with them. He asks them what they are doing and who they are, and how they even paralyzed him, and why. He's fuming. He's so angry that he transformed into Super Saiyan 2 on accident. He didn't even mean to do this. The two don't talk, but Raditz tries to make them talk. Although he finds out that they weren't the ones to paralyze him. Someone else did. That means it was someone at the tournament doing so. And then suddenly, Spopovich starts inflating and then explodes, knocking Raditz back, leaving him confused and a bit disgusted because he was holding on to Spopovich when that happened. And that thing Yamu was holding in his hands is taken by someone else who was teleported over there. There's a tall pink man in blue standing there. Dabura was teleported over by Babidi. They expected the others to come to the ship instead, but Babidi was watching Spopovich and Yamu, and he saw that they were attacked by Raditz. So Dabura now has to go over there and retrieve the energy that they took. Babidi then quickly teleports in too, taking the energy for himself and then going back to his ship, leaving Dabura alone to fight Raditz. Raditz has no clue who this guy is or why he's fighting him, but he's gonna kill him too. He can tell by this guy's presence alone, he's bad news. And he actually does stand a good chance against Dabura here, but unfortunately he doesn't know about Dabura's spit, so he's turned into stone. But right as this happens, the others arrive, and thankfully with Dabura being so preoccupied with Raditz, he didn't even realize they were there. Piccolo immediately launches in, knowing to avoid a spit, but it looks like Raditz of course didn't know. But with the new powers Piccolo's gained, he should be more than enough to fight Dabura as well. And unlike Raditz, he actually knows about the spit. Piccolo tells the others to go find Babidi. He should be close by. But Shin warns Piccolo, don't use too much energy here. Whatever he uses against Dabura will probably be sent back to Babidi. And Piccolo tells them not to worry. He could finish this off quickly. The rest of the group does end up finding Babidi's ship. And by the time they do so, they sense a small power spike nearby that then disappears. And right as they're about to enter, Piccolo rejoins the group. Like he said, Dabura wasn't too big of an issue. And Raditz flies in alongside them. He tries to warn everyone too, saying that there might have been someone at the tournament working with Babidi. Piccolo caught him up to speed, but he mentioned that someone at the tournament paralyzed him to steal his energy. Shouldn't someone go back there and make sure the others are safe? Also, on top of that, that would mean that someone's probably there trying to steal more energy. They should really go back and figure that out. But Raditz then learns of who was actually the one to paralyze him. It was the Supreme Kais that did it? What a ridiculous plan. So they basically used him as bait. Used him to just find Babidi. Besides him thinking the plan's really stupid, he's also angered that they just used him in this way. He doesn't really like the Kais too much, and this anger sticks with Raditz. Thankfully he doesn't act on it right now, especially because Goku tries to calm him down. But Gohan and Goten know that this might lead to something worse. Of course, Raditz is way more chill than he was when he first got on Earth, but when he gets angry, he gets really angry and he does hold grudges. The group at Babidi's ship right now is as follows. It's obviously Goku, Gohan, and Goten, with Raditz, Piccolo, Vegeta, and Krillin. And it doesn't seem like there's too many other people inside the ship. Babidi's pretty happy because he got a lot of energy from Raditz. It's over half the amount that he needed. But it still might not be enough. Raditz was a great target for the energy, but he wonders if they could have waited for someone stronger. He doesn't know the full extent of everyone else's power, but as he's looking around and observing the people there, he can see that Goku, Gohan, and Goten might have even more power locked away. Maybe even that Namekian too. Those idiots were too hasty. If they got energy from one of those other people, he probably would be really close to reviving Boo, because with the extra energy he got from Dabura, now he's at about 70% of the power that he needs for Boo. But he still does need a little bit more. And it's not like Pui Pui or Yakan are going to get enough because they're easily defeated too. But he just needs a little bit more energy, and he has a really good idea. As he looks at the rest of the group too, he sees that there's 2 targets there that could become minions for him, which is even better because he just needed 1. But now that he looks around, he sees Vegeta might be corruptible. He might be able to make him a minion. But also there's Raditz. Babidi could sense the anger within him, and that puts him in a fragile state. Now for Vegeta it might be a bit tougher because he's going to need Vegeta to willingly surrender. And for Raditz that would make it easier too, but since Raditz is so angry right now, all Babidi needs to do is add fuel to the fire, and Raditz will easily turn to him. As the group gets closer and closer to Babidi, he starts working his magic, trying to take over the minds of Vegeta and of Raditz. This is where we'll leave off for now. What'd you guys think about this part, and what's going to happen next time? Leave any thoughts in the comments below. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It lets me know that you want to see more videos like this, and it really does help the channel. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.